everyone, I am going to show you how to make zines today. A zine is like a little book. It came from fanzine. It can be in many shapes and sizes. It's a self-created, self-published, and self-distributed magazine that contains your own writing, artwork, photographs, essays, and more. They've been around a long time. In the 60s and 70s, you can find zines from then, even back to the 1930s. This little zine is one that I compiled using some different websites and some information. There's a website, zinelibraries.info, that has a lot of information. And I learned about zines at the Minnesota Center for Book Arts. Cool place in Minneapolis. And if you are one of the first 10 people to request one of these and you send me your address, you can go on my Etsy store and send me your address. My Etsy shop is Cjksatre.etsy, and I'll send you a free zine. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to fold zines, some simple ways. These are some zines that I've made. I like art history, so I made some zines about art history. I did some watercolor painting and some writing and copied it. Here's one about Van Gogh. And so this one I printed out on the computer and then added in some watercolor paintings. And the neat thing about zines is they can open up and they can be made out of just a simple sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper or any size paper. But 8.5 by 11 is very easy to copy at a copy shop. If it's a story, this is a longer story. So I actually put two zines together so that I would have more pages. I've got like 12 pages in there. This zine has some little windows cut in it, so it's actually like a lift-a-flap book. And it was easily constructed. You can see I just pasted in some of the words that would be underneath my little windows. One of my daughters made this zine, and it is stapled together. This is made out of cardstock, color copied. And this one is a folded zine made out of a larger piece of paper. My other daughter took an anatomy class, and I liked her drawing so much, we turned it into a zine. So they can be any subject, anything you want, art, poetry, writing, pictures. So I'm going to start with an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and show you a basic zine fold. First, I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to open it up and fold it in half the other way. And keep your corners lined up so that it will come together well in the end. Okay, now we've done two folds. What I gotta do is turn it over and do this next fold, because now the folds are going to be going the right way for the zine to just literally fall together. Makes it easier to construct. So we have the sides coming in. I'm just going to fold them to the very center, making sure I'm all lined up. All right, I'm going to flip it back over, and we are going to cut along this line right here, and the easiest way to do that is to fold it in half again, and then we'll cut right up to that. We're going to cut on this line, stopping at that fold. So just one simple cut. Now, to put the zine together, I'm going to fold it in half long ways, and then you see how I have this little square in the center? I'm just going to push it together, and then you're going to make your covers, so you kind of have to push it together a little bit so that you have a front cover and a back cover. And then you can give it good creases. And that is your basic zine fold. So you have like a 8-page zine. Now, if you want a few more pages, you do something very simple. We're going to make one extra cut on this line. So we're just going to take our scissors, complete that cut. Now it's already folded, so it's going to go together really easily. This is our front cover. Back, front, and back, front, back, front. And that gave us some more pages. So we have like 5 pages. Now, you'll notice how it kind of falls apart a little bit. But that's, I usually, if I am copying zines, I'll copy them off. And sometimes I'll put them together with a little double stick tape. So it'll just kind of stay in its book form without falling open. Sometimes when some people are looking at my zines, if they fall open, they don't know how to get them back together. But see now, that stays really easily together. All right, I am going to share with you a couple of my favorite books that have some information about zines. This is How to Make Books by Esther Smith. Illustrator is Lindsay Stadig. Photographer is David Michael Zimmerman. It's a really fun book, and it gets a little more complex at the end, teaching Coptic stitch and other ways to make books stay together, to make handmade books. But they have a great section on zines. They call them basic instant books. And some different variations. You can make them out of calendars. You can make them out of mail. You can make them out of fabric. There's a neat technique in here where you fold the page long ways first, fold it up so that when you fold it, you've got these pockets throughout the book. So that's one of my favorite books. The other book I just got a hold of is Literacy Through the Book Arts by Paul Johnson. This really caught my eye on the front because it's like a little book and he's got some pop-outs there. And so this is a great book about using zines in education and art education. So I was going to show you just briefly, if you wanted to add a few details like that. I took a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, and I folded the zine in the regular way. Or actually, I did a little different because it looked like on the cover, he folded it like this and then did like a zigzag fold. And I think that was so he would have his pop-outs and nothing would be on the other side. So I just sketched a little house, and then you just make one, the roof is the only cut you make. This is going to be where you're going to fold it. And then I just used a little X-Acto knife to cut out some details, the windows and doors. Make sure when you're cutting on a surface. This is a quilting board. You could put cardboard underneath some things so you're not on a table. And then I did these little, I just did a few shapes and the top. For this castle, I just wanted to see what would happen when I didn't stay completely symmetrical. And it worked out okay. So then when you put your book together, you can lift these up. You can do writing inside or drawing. And the little house, you kind of have to, when you're making it the first time, you have to say, okay, this is where we're going to fold it. Kind of tell it where to fold. And it worked out just fine. Now this one I did asymmetrically because here's the center, where the book folds. And it worked out just fine because when I folded it on these dotted lines, the castle is right inside there. So that worked fine. And then you can go in here and draw things that can be seen inside these little buildings. So that's fun. This could be open. You can draw a sunset, sky, whatever, and those little lifted flaps. So those are just a few ideas for making zines. So let me know if you have any questions. And thanks for joining me.